1 week into his presidency, Biden goes to Capitol Hill at the invitation of Nancy Pelosi to talk about the Democratic agenda, and just could not vocalize why he was there. Looking around, smiling at people, and she took over to say, "Well, here's the Biden agenda. This is what we're going to do." He was worthless, useless. The 1 week into his presidency.
It is noteworthy that the percentage of women who register to vote and cast a ballot is consistently higher than the percentage of the men who do so. End of quote. Repeat the line.
So we need to blame Joe Biden. We need to blame Nancy Pelosi. We need to blame Kamala Harris. We need to blame whoever it was that happened to be head of the DNC. They all were part of this conspiracy to cover up for him. And then he had the unmitigated gall to run for re-election.
And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look,
I feel compelled to take a swipe at Jill Biden because she's Lady Macbeth. That's exactly right. That's a great way to put it. She knew from the first time he ran, or not the first time he ran, but from his first term, from the campaign before his first term, that he was demented. Mm-hmm. And she led him around, let him on stage, let him off stage, covered for him.
John Kiriakou doesn't mince words. In this explosive breakdown, he argues that the Biden presidency didn't slowly unravel. It was rotten from day one. Kiriakou saves some of his harshest criticism for Jill Biden, portraying her as the enabler who knew the reality and allowed the performance to continue. In his telling, this wasn't loyalty. It was ambition overriding honesty, with the American public kept in the dark. This isn't just a critique of Joe Biden. It's an indictment of an entire political machine, and a warning about what happens when image matters more than truth.
This is a bad look from absolutely every angle for the Democratic Party. This is just terrible. They tried to pull one over the eyes of the American people. And why would any voter trust you now when you tried to do something like this? They might be more convincing if Biden had ever stood for something. You know, like, for example, Biden was always one of these middle-of-the-road guys. He may early on have been kind of racist. He was against integration through busing. He was the primary author of the terrible criminal justice bill of the 1990s. If he was, you know, a Democratic version of Ronald Reagan, or if he was a John Kennedy figure who actually stood for something, right, and people could rally around him and he inspired passion, all right, then maybe I could see, for old time's sake, we're going to cover up for Joe. Yeah. But he was none of those things. None of them. During the 2020 campaign, when Brian Becker and I still had our show, I know I've said this before, but it's even more appropriate now. There were 3 incidents that so bothered me that we spent, you know, a quarter of the show talking about it. Once, Biden was giving a speech and his eyeball started bleeding, right? And the whole white of his eye became red. He had some kind of like surge in his blood pressure. It's an old man thing. This happens when you're an old man. Your eyeball just spontaneously starts bleeding.
Lovely.
Number one. It was just a week or two before the Iowa caucuses, and he goes out on stage in Iowa to give a speech, but there are really bright lights. The media are all there, bright lights. He gets confused because he can't see beyond the lights, and he gives the entire speech with his back to the audience. It's like, seriously, this is who you guys want as president. There's nobody else in the Democratic Party that's better than this. This is what you want. Yeah, that's just great. I applied for a pardon with Barack Obama. I was ignored. I knew I would be. Then I applied for a pardon from Donald Trump in Trump's first term. Rudy Giuliani tried to shake me down for $2 million, and I ratted him out to the New York Times. But I got that close because Tucker Carlson helped me. Then, on the last day of the Trump presidency, Tucker called me and said that Mitch McConnell had said that if Trump pardoned, and this was the original idea, Assange and Snowden, that he couldn't control the Republican caucus in the Senate and that they would probably vote to convict him on the impeachment charges. Then I go to Biden. I'm friendly with a Greek Orthodox priest who's very, very close to Joe Biden. He said, I can help you. So I'm getting, this guy to write a letter and that guy to write a letter and Senator so-and-so and Congressman, what's his name? And I got Annette Bening and I got Susan Sarandon and I got a whole Hollywood contingent. And then he passed me over. And I said to the priest, well, if I had been a crackhead or a Chinese spy, maybe I would have gotten. So Joe Biden, excuse my language.
If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest content.